Hi everyone. I, 25, female, am here because I choose to leave my family with rather than attend my stepsister's 25, female, wedding, and I'm wondering if I'm an AH for choosing this. My father passed away when I was 6. I was very close to him and I did not take his death well. My mother was there for me, but she was not emotionally as available as I would have liked her to be due to her personality. She's a woman of very few words, and she believed that the best way to go through grief is to pretend the other person never existed in the first place. Hence, I had to cope with my father's death in whatever way I could. One of the things I did was I carried one of my dad's old photographs with me. It was a picture of him holding me as a baby. He looked really happy in the picture, and it was clicked right after I was born. It also had his handwriting on the back because he used to write the date and place on photographs. This picture was very valuable to me. When I was in middle school, I was the target of school bullies. I was a mousy and tiny girl, so I can see why they thought that I was a good target for it. I did my fair bit of standing up to them, but usually avoiding them and spending lunch in the bathroom worked better for me. One day I got cornered in the bathroom. My bully, let's call her Casey, decided to go through my bag while her minions held me down. She found the picture of my father that I had in my bag and she destroyed it. She stomped on it and tore it up. She found it funny as I scrambled over the dirty bathroom floor to get very small pieces of the photograph. I was very torn up about it, and our homeroom teacher decided to call both of our parents to talk. That was how my mother met her father. By 3 months after this incident, they started dating. At this time, while Casey had stopped behaving badly with me and stopped bullying me, she had never apologized for ruining that picture. Fast forward a year and a half, and our parents got married, and we were stepsisters. I guess somewhere they imagined we would get close and become true sisters, but that never happened because I never forgave Casey for doing that, and she never asked for forgiveness. I moved out the moment I got the opportunity to move out. I met my boyfriend in my first year of university, and as I was not the smartest girl, I got myself trapped in an abusive relationship. He urged me to elope with him, which I did, and by the time I was 21, I was stuck with him and getting abused every day. The only way I got out of it was when I found him cheating on me with his ex, and his sister decided to help me get out of that situation. With her help, I filed for divorce, moved away, and found myself a job miles away from all that. Since I moved away to the West Coast, I was far away from my mom as well. Before this, I was just 2 states away, and now I was on a whole different side of the country. I have been here for about 2 years now, and life has been great. I can almost pretend that my past did not happen to me and that I did not end up going through the things that I did. My mom and stepdad did not quite understand why I left the marriage, as in their eyes, my ex-husband is the pinnacle of manliness and any girl would have been lucky to have him. That is why when he started dating Casey a year ago, they did not bat an eye. Every time I went home for Thanksgiving, my ex-husband would be there, and the way he behaved and looked at Casey was the same way he had trapped me into the marriage. I do not like Casey, but she is still my stepsister. So owing to that, I told our parents about the situation repeatedly, and they refused to listen. As I have mentioned before, they think that he's simply manly, and I was too oversensitive to understand where he was coming from. After having the same conversation where I point out the red flags and they dismiss them for the fifth time, I gave up. I tried to speak to Casey about this as well. I told her what I faced at the hands of EH and that she should be careful and not ignore the red flags. Her answer to my worries, "You're just jealous that I can make him happier than you have ever made him happy." I decided to keep my words to myself and let her do her own thing. I believe that it would be for the best way to take care of my mental peace and not feel like the villain every time I'm doing the right thing. Now, onto the incident that happened, which is causing me to write this post here. After a year and a half, I think, I'm not too sure, of dating, Casey and EH are planning on getting married in about 4 months. Casey, being the completely aloof person that she always has been, wants me to not only attend her wedding, but also wants me to be her maid of honor. Her delusions and wants of wanting to be close to me without ever apologizing for bullying me and destroying something so close to me, have been quite the source of entertainment in my life for the past 12 years, and it still has not lost its charm. I politely declined her invitation and told her that while I wished for nothing but the best for her marriage with him, I wanted nothing to do with her wedding. I did not want to attend it, and neither did I want to be the maid of honor. This did not sit well with her. She told my mom about this, who's extremely angry with me. In my mom's eyes, I never accepted Casey as my sister. She's not wrong. But she never quite understood why I refused to accept Casey as my sister. She told me that I do not understand the importance of family and I should be there for things like this despite being an antisocial burden on her shoulders. Her words, not mine. I told her that I would be present for a wedding of a family member, but I never considered Casey as my family. I never thought she was remotely my family because she never apologized for bullying me. She never apologized for destroying my father's picture, and my mom never gave me the time to adjust to her dating Casey's father before marrying him. When I spelled it all out for my mother, she did what she did best and dismissed me. She told me that she was not going to lead her life controlled by the emotions of a child. I told her that that was not what I meant and tried to explain that I did not want to control her life back then, and I simply wanted her to give me the time to adjust to her dating my bully's father. But my mother insisted that what I said was not the case. I just wanted to be a control freak and dictate her life. She even said that because of my controlling nature, my marriage did not work out. It was almost like she never heard of the abuse and the cheating, even though I had said it to her multiple times. After the conversation, I lowered my contact and my communication with my family. After a week of that, Casey called me and gave me an ultimatum. She said either I attend her wedding or I will no longer be on the will. I guess this was my mom's idea because she often thought that I was very materialistic, owing to my workaholic nature, when really I worked to sustain my childhood dreams that my mother never gave me the time of the day, too. So you can imagine their surprise when I decided that I would rather not be in the will than attend that wedding. That has led to a lot of screaming, shouting, and scathing voicemails from my mom, and some from my stepdad who thinks I'm terrible, emotionally immature, idiotic person who does not know what to prioritize. I think that I should prioritize my mental peace, but I guess the unlimited barrage of hateful messages and voicemails have me wondering if I am truly in the right. So what do you think? AITA? Update 1. Thank you for validating my emotions that my mother dismissed so rudely. I appreciate that so many of you feel like my lack of sisterly affection towards Casey is understandable because of how she destroyed my father's picture. I understand that I am yet to move on from the hurt I felt, and I do believe that if I got an apology from Casey, and I was given time to get accustomed to my mother and her father dating, I would have accepted her as my true sister. But since I was not given that time or liberty, I feel like this is the only way I can deal with her. To everyone who's saying I should have gone no contact with my family from the moment they refused to support my escape from the abusive marriage, you guys are right. I suppose I just really wanted a family, even though I never felt held or accepted by them. I will go no contact with them from now on. Thank you for making me feel less guilty about this decision. Update 2. I have been no contact with my family for the past 3 months. They posted the pictures of the wedding and it seemed like an amazing ceremony. However, there were also several shady posts clearly referring to me. In those posts, my stepsister and mother expressed their disdain towards me. I can't say that I'm surprised. I believe I would have been surprised had they let it go. After going through all of those posts, I decided that perhaps blocking them on social media would also impact my mental peace positively, and so I did it. I must say, I feel much better now. I have been focusing on myself, and I've been thinking about going for a better job. I have not decided yet. Update 3. As you have guessed, Casey's marriage did not work out as well as she thought it would. They'd been married for about 6 months and she found her husband in bed with someone else. I heard that when she found out, she broke a few vases around the house, which is a pretty expected reaction. She wants a divorce, but our parents are not willing to help her out with it. I heard all of this from my friends as my family has not reached out to me. I'm not surprised at all. Since I've gone no contact with them, I got the opportunity to deal with the emotions that I harbor towards her. And I have realized that while I do not like her as my sister, I do not want anything bad to happen to Casey. Hence, I asked my friend to give Casey the number of my divorce lawyer. I do not know if she's going for it or not, but I hope that she ends up safe. That's pretty much all I can do and want to do with all the resources I have at hand. I can understand why you do not want to attend her wedding right off the bat. You do not date your sister's abusive and cheating ex. But with the backstory, I can also see why you are feeling the emotions that you are feeling. Your NTA, OP. Next story. So I co-parent with my ex. We were never married and they have custody of my son. Informal arrangement. We never went to court or anything, but we wanted to both have a relationship with him. He is over a year old now, and I've had him for many overnights, and we often do things together, including with both our families. I pay for part of his daycare tuition. I thought things were going well, but today my ex called me and said they need to take care of my son all weekend because their relative, not a super close relative, died, and they need to go to the funeral out of town and don't want to have to deal with my son on a plane or at the funeral service. I already had plans to go away for the weekend with friends, so I said no. Get a babysitter. My ex blew up at me and said a family funeral trumps a trip with friends, and that it was selfish, psychopathic, and narcissistic of me not to cancel. I have been known to misjudge stuff sometimes, which is why I'm posting here as a self-check. But I really don't agree. I think I had existing plans. My ex gave me basically no notice, and I can't bring a baby on this trip. Long drive, not appropriate atmosphere. And especially if my ex is going to fling hateful words and insults at me. Why would I change my plans? So, AITA? Edit. I don't know when the bot tallies things up, but the consensus seems clear, although not completely unanimous. I do think some of the comments here are kind of harsh, since I do love my son and my intent was not to spite my ex. Just I feel it was an unreasonable ask. So I have some reflecting to do. I don't know if I'll be able to find a babysitter. Thank you, everyone. Edit 2. I did try to make it gender neutral in hopes of keeping gendered assumptions out of replies, but slipped up in the judgment bot post. I am the father, so people calling me he in the comments are justified. YTA, being a parent means that sometimes you have to cancel or change plans due to unexpected life events. This includes the life events of the co-parent. This is a death in the family, and given that you are not part of the family, how do you know that person is actually close to their departed relative? You cancel your plans and watch your child. You also apologize for your lapse in judgment. Next story. I, mid-20s, female, am getting married. My fiance, late 20s, male, and I are paying for everything for our bridal party as we want their support without anyone getting in debt for us, as we know not all our friends are in as good a financial position as we are. However, I'm having a problem with how much it's going to cost to do with the hair of one of my bridesmaids. The bridesmaid, Addie, early 20s, female, has extremely long, thick hair past her knees. I don't think she has ever cut her hair. Addie is the best man's, late 20s, male, wife, who also has extremely long hair. Due to the length of her hair, the hairdresser that I am using has advised that to do Addie's hair, it's going to cost double due to the current length, as they will need to dedicate just one person to do Addie's hair, as it will take much longer to do her hair. Another stylist will be able to do the hair of the other three bridesmaids in the same amount of time. We had a trial and it took 50 minutes to do Addie's hair compared to the 20 minutes each for the others. It didn't look as nice as the others due to how much hair was braided up. I don't want to have to pay for an additional person because Addie's hair is ridiculously long. Addie's husband had already said he will cut his hair so that he looks neat but won't say when it's getting cut. I asked Addie to also cut her hair to at least her waist so that it's of similar length to my other bridesmaids. Addie was upset when I asked her to cut her hair, as she got upset and told me that I was being insensitive in asking her to cut her hair, as I know that she doesn't cut her hair for cultural reasons. I honestly thought this was a reasonable request. It's my wedding. Surely she wants to make me happy. Addie said it was one step too far for her, as I had already asked her to not use her rosemary hair oil, as I didn't want her to smell like a woody-scented hippie at the wedding. That stuff stinks, but she swears by it for her hair. Addie suggested that she did her own hair, but I said no, as I want my bridesmaids to all look the same, and she'd look different if she did her own hair. I asked if she would pay the £200 that I'm being charged extra for her hair, and she's refused, saying they can't afford it. Addie had said that I'm being a bridezilla, but I disagree. I don't think I'm being unreasonable. Addie has since spoken with her husband, and he's now told my fiance that he won't be cutting his hair either, and will be instead putting it back nicely. He wasn't happy that I was pushing Addie to cut her hair. Fiance isn't bothered because he just wants his friend next to him, but I'm upset that they're not willing to do this one thing. I thought I would come to Reddit to ask if I'm being the a-hole in this situation, just for an outsider's opinion. Am I being an a-hole? I don't think I am, because it's not unreasonable to ask someone to do something for my wedding, but Addie thinks I am, as she doesn't cut her hair. Edit. Okay, I realize I'm the a-hole. I'm going to call Addie later and apologize for asking her to cut her hair, but ask her if she would prefer to just be a guest, as I would like to have my bridesmaids all look the same. Edit 2. Okay, I get it. I'm the a-hole, and that my apology plan doesn't sound great. I'm going to talk with Addie and revisit the idea of her doing her own hair and maybe look for another style that would work better for all the different hair lengths and types my bridesmaids have. While I would like my bridesmaids to all look the same, I know it wasn't right to ask her to cut her hair or kick her out of the wedding. I asked her to be a bridesmaid as her husband is the best man. We aren't very close, but they are a package deal, and I know he wouldn't want to walk down the aisle with anyone else. I respect that these are his boundaries, and I should have respected that with Addie. I have asked her to not use the oil just due to the fact that she can be heavy-handed with it, and one of my bridesmaids is really sensitive to smells, and it can be strong. When I asked her not to wear it, she was okay with it, as she understood and didn't want to cause the other bridesmaids a migraine. Edit 3. I have spoken with Addie. I have apologized for asking her to cut her hair. I have offered to take her and her husband out for dinner next week as a way to apologize for my lack of judgment. I've asked Addie if she was still open to doing her own hair. If not, I would pay the extra money. Addie said she would prefer to do her own hair, and we have agreed to do some hair trials next weekend to see if we can find a style that suits her. Addie has advised that her husband is still upset that I asked her to cut her hair, as he felt as if I was being pushy, but she said he will calm down in time. Addie and I are also going for lunch in the week, so we can get to know each other better. Her husband adores her. She's a lovely person, and I should get to know her, as they are a big part of my fiance's life. Thank you for opening my eyes, Reddit, to how I was being. I'm hoping I can forge a friendship with Addie and not damage my fiance's relationship with her and her husband. YTA. Why should she cut her hair for your one day? Not even speaking of the cultural reason, it would take years to grow back to its current length. For your one day? Hell no. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationship.